Discuss Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota. Senator, thanks so much for joining us. Donald Trump spoke at his Mar-a-Lago resort earlier today, and he had this to say about the Madison Square Garden event.
I don't think anybody has ever seen anything like what happened the other night at Madison Square Garden. The love in that room.
We heard some really rough and offensive things from some of the speakers, including, of course, the comedian who called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. There are a number of Republicans who criticized that comedian and the event, including your colleague, Senator Rick Scott of Florida. Do you think it would be better if Trump just acknowledged and apologized for those comments as opposed to saying it was just a love fest? Or what's your take on it?
I think there's two parts to it. First of all, I know the campaign through Mr. Alvarez indicated that Mr. Trump was not aware of it beforehand and that they did not agree with those comments. I do think that having that particular comedian on there at that time and what he did, even though I don't think those jokes were cleared by the campaign, it was an unforced error. And when you have that, you have to identify the fact that it is not the way that you believe about a particular group of people, or for that matter, Puerto Rico. Look, Puerto Rico's been through some terrible, terrible weather, and those folks need all the help they can get. They don't need to have anybody taking a second shot at them.
So Megyn Kelly had some criticisms about the event and the overall tone when it came to women. Well, let's roll the tape and get your reaction.
It was too brotastic, okay? It was. You're trying to win an election in which you're hemorrhaging female voters. Maybe when you present in front of hundreds, thousands at least, at Madison Square Garden, you clean up the bro talk just a little so you don't alienate women in the middle of America who are already on the fence about Republicans. We're trying to get him elected. We don't need to rally the base or guys anymore.
Doesn't she have a point for these last 7 days? Wouldn't it be better to, you got the men. They're voting for you. Doesn't she have a point about the tone in these last 7 days?
Look, I think both campaigns have to change the tone. And by that, I mean, let's get down and talk about the facts. Let's talk about the issues that real Americans are concerned with. The rhetoric going both ways right now, the back and forth. I mean, I think it started when the guys were talking about their golf games rather than talking about substance in the first debate.
Right.
So what I'd like to see is both of these two camps actually focus on things that Americans are concerned about. They're concerned about inflation. They're concerned about the cost of groceries. They're really concerned about the border and about what we're going to do to stop. We had 101,000 additional individuals illegally cross that border here in September. I want to think, at least I would think, that those are winning issues for Republicans. Every time we talk about something besides the important core issues to really good Americans on both sides of the aisle who are looking for the right kind of leadership, they want to talk about substance. They want to talk about the issues that are in front of them. And look, there's multiple issues out there that we're going to have to face. We got a huge deficit out there right now.
Yeah.
We've got to make sure that we take care of Social Security. And those are items of substance that people are listening to. You go back in and you sit down at a coffee shop, and people really don't care whether or not they're calling each other names. What they want to hear is, and they know that under President Trump beforehand, the inflation was under control, the border was under control, and they really felt as though on a national or on an international level, things were under control. Let's get this back. Both sides have got to focus on the issues. And I think those folks that are undecided, I think it's because they're not sure whether they're going to hear the right things from our candidates in the closing time period on the issues that they really care about.
Quickly before you go, do you expect Republicans to take control of the Senate? And if so, by how many seats?
Yeah, look, I do think so. I think West Virginia is one that we're all counting on right now. But I think there are a number of other states right now that we've got really good candidates in. And, you know, you can see them. Everybody's seen the polls on them, the ones that are out there right now. But clearly Montana is moving in the right direction. Ohio is moving in the right direction. I think Michigan is a sleeper. I think Mike Rogers is one of those guys who can really contribute to our national security. He's got great experience in it. I think Wisconsin is going to be a surprise to a lot of folks out there. And naturally, Pennsylvania, where you've got a real knockdown, drag out, and a huge amount of money being spent. I think that's another really strong possibility for Republicans.
Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota. Thank you, sir. Good to see you again.